Test, test, test.
right, everyone, we'll get started. Okay, welcome to the April 9th, 2026 DAR small meeting. My name is Lindsay Van Slamberg. I'll be your chairwoman this evening. Fellow board members present are Becky Finno and Bill Hunter. City staff present are Frank Pinto, BARS administrator, and Travis Scally, senior preservation planner. The order of tonight's meeting is as follows. For each application, we'll hear an introduction overview of the project for the benefit of the board and public. This will be followed by the applicant's presentation. The applicant will have a 10-minute period of time to present their project. And if you are with the applicant, if you were the owner, designer, developer, consultant, you should speak during the applicant presentation versus during the public comment. The board can ask questions of the applicant at any time by customly do so on the heels of the applicant's presentation. This will be followed by public comment. Any written public comment that was timely submitted has been provided to the board in advance of the meeting. If you are speaking as a member of the public about any project, please raise your hand. I'll recognize you. Approach the podium and state your name first and last for the record and your address if you're a neighbor. Public comment will be followed by city staff comments and recommendations. And once we've heard the city staff comments and recommendations, then the applicant will have a 5-minute period of time to clarify or respond to anything raised in the public comment or the city staff comments and recommendations. Once we've heard from the applicant, their presentation will be closed and we'll move into board discussion and a vote on each application. Results will be posted online on the city's website after the meeting. And the following items have been withdrawn or deferred. Agenda item B10, 248 Calhoun Street, and B14, 243 King Street. Please turn off your cell phones and remember that the purview of this board is architecture only. So anything related to zoning, stormwater, livability is not within the purview of this board and should not be voiced here. We'll get started. Agenda item A1 is review of the minutes from the March 12th, 2026 meeting. I make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Bill, all in favor? Hearing none opposed, the motion passes unanimously. Agenda item A2 is review of the minutes from the March 23rd, 2026 meeting. I make a motion to approve with the revisions I circulated to the board and city staff this afternoon. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Bill, all in favor?
Aye.
Hearing none opposed, the motion passes unanimously. Agenda item B1 is 61 Maple Street. Frankie, if you give us an introduction overview of the project, please.
Yeah. 61 Maple Street is in North Central Council District 4. It is a category 4 group 1 in our architecture inventory, circa 1835, using start materials and local district. They're requesting after the fact approval of exterior modifications visible from the public right of way. The property's location on Maple Street. And I will turn it over to you.
Thank you, board. I appreciate everybody's time this morning, meeting at the site to review the project. 61 Maple Street had prior approval to remove siding and trim to replace with fiber cement siding. Unfortunately, that was taken a little bit too far and some of the original building detailing was removed. We have taken some time to analyze what the existing building was from what we can gather from different historic information context. And we are now proposing to make the alterations to go back to the original detailing. So what the building looks like right now, as you can see on the bottom there, looks more like a suburban fiber cement home. So we are going through remove some of the fascia and soffits, bring back the rafter tails, the rake edges, reinstall the wood windowsills that were done at the original build. The roof gable brackets that were on the house originally were kind of repositioned, so we're going to bring those back and put them in the correct locations. There were 3, now they're 2. We're going to go back to 3, and currently there's a double door installed where a single door should have been replaced and had approval of this to replace kind of in kind in that single door. So we are to go back to the single door with light fixtures on each side. The 2 revisions we are requesting approval on are a railing revision. The existing the existing building had handrails up the stairs, kind of in the middle and off center of the stairway. It's a nice 9-foot wide stairway. We are just requesting approval to put them kind of on the sides of the stairway and up the brick piers on the sides. And originally, you can see it on the lower left, right here, there was a brick chimney that terminated at the roof itself. Somebody at some point had taken off the top of it prior to this work being done. That chimney is now gone in its entirety as part of this project. You can see it's no longer here. So we are requesting approval to not put that back in this stage. Overall, we've analyzed what we can. All the notes are here. So the work that would be done would be in part with me overseeing the contractor to make sure that the revisions get done per what's being called out.
Any questions for the applicant? Thank you. Do we have anyone speaking?
Totally Historic Charleston Foundation. HCF appreciated the opportunity to visit the site this morning. While HCF does not support after the fact approval, we are encouraged by the applicant's commitment to reconstructing the character defining features. Thank you.
Lauren Bay, the President of the Society of Charleston. The BSC appreciated the opportunity to visit the site this morning, as well as the clear documentation provided in this application. We are supportive of efforts to reverse unapproved alterations and restore character-defining features to this historic Foursquare North Central. Thank you.
Is there anyone else speaking? Thank you. Give us any staff comments and recommendations, please.
So we kind of struggled to write this up. Essentially, since this is a demo purview, we looked at this as that previously what was being requested was approval after the fact for the removal of these features, the chimney, roof tail, roof bracket, etc. And the staff condition would be that these character defining features as called out in this middle packet be replaced to match the previous conditions. So our recommendation would be deny any after the fact approval of removal features with the condition that they are to be replaced to match.
Okay. Thank you. Patrick, do you want to clarify or respond to anything raised in the staff comments? Or the public comments?
Yeah, maybe I think Frankie's touched on it. Kind of a weird way to have to verbalize this because it is a potential denial of the after the fact approval. So how can we give an approval for the condition being presented?
Yeah.
I will add a note on the staff conditions that we have no issue with the change in the railing.
So I don't know if I have any comments or rebuttals to it. Just want to kind of think about, we are proposing to go back in with all these details.
Yes. Thank you. All right, public comment in the applicant's presentation is now closed. We'll move into board discussion and a vote. You actually answered a question I was going to ask you. So I think what we would do is it would be a denial of the after the fact for everything, which would essentially be an approval of putting it back. The denial means you just need to put it back the way it was, but we need to consider whether we would bifurcate that and split it into an approval of the after the fact demolition of the chimney and the handrail of the stairs. So given that the chimney, I'm okay with the handrail of the stairs, and given that the chimney, the top was removed by, at some point prior to this,
Yeah.
I'm okay with the chimney removal as well.
And I'm okay with the railing. What was there and removed would not have been original anyway. It was a later alteration. So what Patrick's going back with is much better.
Yeah, I can try to say what I think about.
That would be great. I think we're all in agreement.
Yeah, I think so too. Okay, so Becky, I think what your motion is, approval of after the fact demo of the chimney and handrail at the stairs. And then denial of remaining after the fact demolition. After the fact. And do we need the staff condition? Would that be helpful to you?
I don't think so. Essentially what we're gonna ask Patrick to do is submit his packet of documentation for the permit.
What, I mean.
So he's basically gonna resubmit the same thing for the permit to show what he's doing.
Okay.
So I don't know that you need to condition to add that condition. We were mostly trying to make it very clear that as things were called out in the packet, was how we were conditioning.
Got it. Okay, so we've got a motion on the floor for approval of after the fact demolition of the chimney and the handrail of the stairs, denial of the remaining after the fact demolition. Do I have a second?
Second.
Bill. Motion for the vote. Becky?
Yeah, in favor.
Bill?
Yeah.
Chair votes to the majority and the motion passes unanimously. 61, agenda item 2 is 61 Gordon Street. Frankie, if you'll give us an introduction and overview of the project, please.
Second, I can't stop. Okay, 61 Gordon is in Wagner Terrace, Council District 6. It is a category 4 in the architecture inventory circa 1840 in the historic materials demolition district. Also requesting approval for partial demolition of exterior elements from public right of way. This is the property's location on Gordon, and I will turn it over to the applicant. We've got a marathon tonight. We do have an extra water for you just in case.
That's awesome. Just in preparation. On 61 Gordon Street, as Frankie said, we were requesting some demolition, mostly of the rear. It is a very interesting stucco building on masonry. It sits pretty well in an ex-flood zone area. A lot of the stucco itself is pretty clunky and chunky, so we would like to smooth that out. So it's kind of a, not so much a demolition, but an alteration of an existing material. So I don't really know how to do that because it's in kind, not quite in kind. But we are keeping the historic detailing, rounded parapets on the front, the coins on the corners, the dentils around all the eaves. The chimneys are going to remain, the stucco itself is going to remain. The front door would be removed and replaced in the same opening, as would all the windows. The windows are currently vinyl, the white vinyl, and looks like they've only been there for maybe 6 months or so. The majority of what we are proposing of the exterior, you can see there's kind of a larger interior renovation going on, is the back section of the house, including the rear porch area, which was definitely added on to much more recently. I saw it today, it was a completely different side than the rest of the house. So we were requesting to remove that porch and part of that back wall to tie a new addition into, and that back wall removal would include the roof along here too. We are holding in the new addition inside the coins about 1'4" from the corners to make sure that we are keeping those coins being subordinate to the existing house as we tie into it and not going more overboard than we have to. And we are also requesting a few revisions to the existing garage. There's an existing garage off to the side. We're requesting the removal of the overhead door, as well as being able to remove the remove the CMU to coat it in stucco to match the rest of the house. As we saw this morning, that shed did not appear to be original to the house, and it definitely is not the same size as what is shown on the Sanborn maps. So I don't think that that's that's original to the house or overly historic. Otherwise, not too much going on. We're trying to keep the character and all those defining elements of the house intact.
Any questions for the applicant? Thank you. We have anyone speaking? And if you give the city staff comments and recommendations, please.
Staff observations, they're requesting demolition of rear porch, portion of rear wall, value window, garage elements mentioned. Staff is not opposed to the texture change in the stucco. We are also not opposed to the removal of vinyl windows, so long as the opening size does not change. Roof demolition as kept in from the ridge. We would prefer that if the area of demolition was kept further in from midpoints. So our only condition would be that that area of demo is set further away from coins so that they're not damaged in any way. Our staff recommendation is approval with staff condition.
Thank you, Frankie. Patrick, did you want to respond to or clarify anything in the staff comments and recommendations?
I don't think so. Thank you.
All right, public comment and the applicant's presentation is now closed. We'll move into board discussion and a vote.
I'm comfortable with all of it. Demolition, the roof demolition and the back wall demolition there in the back of the house. We generally ask for them. I think everything's being enforced in a sensitive manner, so I'm good.
Not staff's comment on that. Using the rear wall demo.
Frankly, did you have any kind of an idea of how far off? Coins or?
We didn't have a number, and it might just be that, looking at the drawing, that's,
I'm sure they clear the.
yeah, we're just making sure that they're staying clear of the coin.
Okay.
We'll just have that staff comment.
Yeah.
And then nobody has a problem with the garage.
No.
Because it's technically demolition since he's covering it. Yeah. Bill, do you want to make a motion?
I will make a motion for demolition as submitted with staff's condition.
I think they can work with staff unless you think. Yeah. Okay, we have a motion on the floor for approval of demolition as submitted. Do I have a second? Thank you, Becky. If a position could vote. Bill,
Yea in favor.
Becky,
No in favor.
chair votes the majority. That's unanimous. You're up again. Agenda item 3 is 2 Hanover Street. Frankie, you have to give us an introduction. We'll do that.
2 Hanover Street is in East Side, Council District 4. It is a Category 4, Section 1852 in the Old City District. Requesting, the original request was a wholesale window and siding replacement. This is the property's location on Hanover Street. And I'm trying to come up here.
Thank you, Frankie. 2 Hanover, project had a permit to do some work, and unfortunately that work got a little bit overdrawn, a little bit too much done to the exterior. The current building has had the siding removed and the wood windows removed, and currently sits with sheeting and tieback all over. The roof was replaced with asphalt shingle, which I think did have approval to do. Unfortunately, the chimney is no longer there, and I do not know if that was removed as part of this project or prior. But from the analysis that we did of existing pictures and existing information and context, going back and forth in the wrong direction. We really tried to analyze what this building did look like. The wood siding, the placement of the windows, the 6/6, the trims, does look like it has some type of a sloped head trim as well. With the gable ends, the louvers, all of the different detailing on the fascias and the overhangs. So what we are proposing is now to put this back together to match that as closely as possible. We would like to be able to leave the sheathing and the tieback that's in place right now and put that wood siding and window trim over the top of that. You can see on this elevation as well, there are 2 current window openings in the bathroom that we will cover up. We don't believe that those windows should be there. They're not historic. There were some openings on the side of that, but they were in a different location and different size than what's there now. Most of the piazza is still intact, does need a lot of work still, but we are again proposing to just kind of piece that back together in kind to the greatest extent possible, including the transom that still exists. The door is a 6-panel door or a 5-panel door. That does not appear to be original to the house. We saw that a little bit today on site. And otherwise, we are really just trying to put this back together the way that the permit set should have had it at the start of the construction. So architectural drawings kind of showing all the details and pieces, put that back together. Currently on site, these front windows on the elevation have been moved and are a little bit too close together. So we are going to move them back to make sure that they're properly spaced for the historic building.
Any questions for the applicant?
Who was the contractor on that?
Brian Johnson Construction.
Any other
They've
questions?
been really good about working with me and trying to make sure that this gets done.
Any other questions? Do we have anyone speaking?
Laurel Fay with Preservation Society of Charleston. PSC appreciated the opportunity to visit the site this morning and are glad to see that this historic Charleston single will be restored to its original configuration after the unfortunate removal of historic materials. To that end, we asked the board to also require that the historic chimney be rebuilt as it was demolished without approval. Thank you.
Utility Historic Charleston Foundation, HCF appreciated the opportunity to visit the site this morning. While we are disheartened by the removal of historic material, we are encouraged by the applicant's plan to restore as many of the character defining features as possible. HCF does not support the request for after the fact approval of the demolition of the brick chimney, as it is a character defining feature that we'd like to see restored. Thank you.
Is there anyone else speaking? Okay, Frank, you have to give us city staff comments and recommendations, please.
Okay. We were trying to figure out how to write this up, so it's basically mostly what Patrick said he's doing. So they're requesting after the fact approval for the removal of character defining features. Chimney. Details which are remaining per the drawings are the transom and front door, square posts at piazza, piazza rails are being prepared to match. We were trying to sort of state that things should be replaced to match previous conditions, and then we realized that was a bit overwhelming and sort of gave up after. But we had a wood siding interim, wood 6/6 true divided light windows. We were also conditioning that the chimney be replaced to match. So staff recommendation is denial for after the fact removal of chimney and conceptual approval with staff conditions and preliminary final review by staff.
Patrick, did you want to respond to or clarify anything raised in the public comment of the city staff comments?
I don't think I have anything to add now.
Public comment in the applicant's presentation is closed, and then the board discussion and a vote.
I mean, it's unfortunate this happened because judging by the photographs, the house was pretty much intact. I mean, it was all there. It probably could have been done with siding repairs, electric repairs, repair the windows, trim all of that. So it's unfortunate all that's happened, but in going back, I do think the windows need to be separated again on the front. One note that I would change on the drawing is reference your when the window sills are referenced, your reference is 2 by. in my experience, 2.25 sort of the, 2.25 actual dimensions, sort of the most common that you see downtown in historic homes. Maybe just, note that's 2.25 actual dimension. I agree with I agree that the chimney needs to go back. It can be supported from within, since there's no firebox left. I would say that I would give some leeway on the piazza stair rails if you needed to, or if you wanted to go back with something that matched the balusters on the. I'm fine with that. It would probably be an improvement anyway. So instead of putting it back with just those 2x4 rails, that's kind of it for me. You got anything there?
No, I had pretty much the same comments.
Are you okay with removing the windows on the north side?
Yeah,
Okay,
they likely were not original. But
okay, and then the sheathing, they don't,
yeah, it's already on there.
because what I'm thinking is we're gonna create similar to like the first one where we approve a few things and then deny the rest of it. And so I think it's approving the sheathing. Maybe it's just a comment about they want to change the piazza stair railing, but it's approval of the sheathing and approval of demo of the windows in the north elevation and denial of the remaining.
Looks like you made a motion.
Did you make a motion?
Got a motion, just about exactly what you said.
Okay, so
Repeat it.
yeah, that's what I'm gonna write it down.
There's a double negative.
Okay, so approval of after the fact demo of let's see, the windows at the north elevation. And I'll say an approval of sheathing. Then demolition, denial of after the fact of the remaining after the fact demolition. Demolition.
One other thing, and that is to increase the window sills to a 2.25 inch actual dimension.
So I'll do a few board conditions. So one, increase the sill dimension to 2.25. It's not really a board condition, sort of a comment. We're okay with a change in the piazza stair railing.
If he chooses to.
Yeah.
Upgrade that.
And then does this need a conceptual approval?
It is an old city.
Oh, that's right. Okay. So then conceptual approval. With preliminary final review by staff. Okay, so Bill.
What did I say?
We have a motion on the floor for approval of after the fact demolition of the windows to the north elevation and approval of the sheathing. Denial of the remaining after the fact demolition. Conceptual approval with final review by staff. And then with 2 board conditions, that they increase the sill dimension to 2.25. And then a sort of a board comment that the board is okay with the change in the piazza stair railing. Okay, do I have a second?
A second.
You, Becky, put the motion to a vote. Bill,
Yeah, in favor?
Becky,
Yay in favor.
the chair votes to the majority and the motion passes unanimous.
Thank you.
Okay, agenda item 4 is 7 Smith Street. Thank you. Please give us an introduction overview of the project, please.
This is Charleston Village. It is not surveyed circa 1940 in old historic district. Requesting approval for wholesale window replacement following the previous work. This is the property's location on Smith Street. And I will turn it over to the applicant.
Joe Gottschalk with Gottschalk Architects. Here on behalf of the owners, John and Elizabeth Rhodes tonight. Send their regrets for not being here. Mr. Rhodes is traveling and on business, and Mrs. Rhodes has an elderly mother who just needed some attention and care this evening, so I'm here. Our request tonight is we're looking to replace, at a request to replace the windows at Smith Street. It's a two-part request. The original house, and then there was an existing porch that was on the rear, two-story porch on the rear of the house that was closed. Let's see here, about 25 years ago. This is, well, let me go back. This is the Smith Street elevation. This is the right side of the house. Left side of the house, which is where the original windows are all located. And then the rear of the house, where the two-story porch had been enclosed at some point in time. And the reason we're separating the two types of windows is that the windows on the original house were single pane wood double hung windows, and the windows on this enclosed two-story porch are wood double pane windows. And the last time we were here, the owner was requesting to replace all the windows with double pane windows, double pane windows, which was denied. And so what we are coming back to request now is that it is to just replace kind with like kind, double hung single pane wood windows on the main house, and double pane wood windows on the enclosed porch. The lingo gets complicated. So last fall, though, because the windows were in such bad shape, John Crane, who does a lot of historic and vintage sash window and repair, came in and worked on the house. And thank you again for everyone who met at the house this morning. He provided a letter, and it's a short letter, but he said between October and December 2025, he repaired the wood rot in the windows at 7 Smith Street. About 9 of the windows had failed due to wood rot, mostly in the bottom rails, with some damage extending up into the stiles. The sashes with damage were mostly located on the north side of the property, which is the right elevation, and both sash and frame sill damage on the east side. The damage amounted to failure beyond economic repair. There was no structure left in the wood, clear daylight hold to the outside in many locations. At the request of the homeowner, I made pragmatic short-term repairs sufficient to keep out rain and drafts and insects and to minimize further water intrusion and damage to the frames and walls. These repairs render the windows sealed shut now. Damage to the wall under the window had already started with the east windows, and in addition to pragmatic repairs to the windows and sills, I replaced interior trim and some drywall repair. And he just we've gone with several properties that he's worked on over the past years, and he says this type of deterioration is common in our environment when 1 or 2 maintenance rounds to check the putty integrity, exterior paint, and local rot are missed. So our concerns here is that there will be continuing damage as time goes by. And as Mr. Crane noted, the work resulted in the windows being sealed shut. This presents some safety concerns as a number of these windows are in bedrooms, so that the windows are no longer usable as emergency egress windows. So our request then is twofold: is to replace the windows on the main house with wood double hung single pane windows to match the existing, and then 2, to replace the windows on the rear enclosed porch with wood double hung double pane windows to match the existing there as well too. So like kind for like kind. So that's it. Thank you.
Any questions for the applicant?
So, Gov, the reason for entire replacement and not just sash replacement is they want operable windows, I guess.
That's a good main part of the reason. You know, right now there's just, I mean, as far as we know, they're the original windows, and you know, the sashes over time, they're just, you know, the windows are sealed stuck shut now just because of repair. But yes.
Now, Victor-Built, I've ordered Victor-Built, window units without a sill. Because they don't come with the heavy seal that you find on the historic buildings. Is that your intent, order them without sills or remove the sills and put historically dimensioned, sills back on them or?
Well, I mean, our intent would be, is to match what is there.
Okay.
So I mean, if, you know, there was a discussion in the last meeting about the thick sills. If the sills are, we will match with what is there existing.
Okay. Yeah, because I have ordered them with no sills before, and you can make your own, you know, chunky sills.
Sure.
Or reuse the ones that are there that are still in good shape.
Well, that would be few. I mean, they really, I mean, if you were to go inside the house, I mean, you could literally, well, like, you could look through and see daylight, and we're concerned about just ongoing destruction of the walls below the windows as well too.
Any other questions for the applicant? Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have anyone speaking for the public?
Agent Kelly, Historic Charleston Foundation. HCF appreciated the opportunity to visit the site this morning. We do not support wholesale window replacement. Based on our observations during the site visit, we recommend historic windows rather than replacing them. If replacement is necessary, the windows should be replaced in kind. Thank you.
Laurel Fay with the Preservation Society of Charleston. The PSC appreciate the opportunity to visit the site this morning. The PSC asks that the applicant work with staff to provide more detailed images and documentation of the deteriorated original windows on the historic core of this building to assess whether they can be repaired or replaced in kind if they're truly beyond repair.
Is there anyone else speaking from the public? Okay, Frankie, if you give us the staff comments and recommendations. please.
Staff just have observations, existing windows are wood treated divided light, was for the last permit we found in 2003, I think. We have denied permits from 2025, that was due to the windows having vinyl components. I think that was the Anderson 100 series. And there were vinyl components and insulated windows. And then there was a previous fee or small motion in 2023 to replace windows, and the board voted to deny as submitted, and there was a comment for a staff site visit, which was conducted like that. Staff recommendation is a denial for previous board motions. We were trying not to oppose any previous decisions by up with the board.
Thank you, Frankie. Mr. Gottschalk, did you want to respond to or clarify anything in the public comment or the few staff comments and recommendations?
No, not at this point.
All right, public comment and the applicant's presentation is now closed, so move to board discussion and a vote.
The windows going in the enclosed, porch, I'm comfortable with that. I mean, those are not,
Not historic.
they're
I don't
the
think.
historic windows, and, you know, that's basically like kind that he's doing their like kind replacement. The other windows, and being out there this morning, you know, all the windows are covered with storm windows, and so I couldn't really assess the condition of the windows being out there this morning. I mean, could you? Or so that's what I'm hung up on, is that I don't know if they need to be because we can't. I mean, being out there, they look pretty pristine because they look like they had just been painted and storm windows put on. So I'm not saying that some of them or all of them, they may need to be replaced. I just don't know. And maybe if y'all are comfortable with it, maybe the storm windows come off and staff would be able to go out there and handle it on a staff basis as which windows could be replaced and which right now there's no way to really assess
In this area of town, with this house, are you able, can they work with staff on repair and replacement of those windows, or is this something that?
They can, but instead of removing the dormer windows and having to go out, we would just request that a window, a very thorough window survey be provided.
And they can work with staff on that.
And
Yeah.
we work with
That's what I think we would just deny it and they can work with staff on a repair placement. But then approval of the, what is it, A through G? Those are the rear windows? Did I have that right, A through G?
Yes.
Okay.
And if they do need to be replaced, what Gov is planning on replacing it with, other than the fact soft pine windows and they're gonna rot 10 years anyway, is it's just appropriate, that would match what's there now. Yeah.
Well, did you want to make a motion?
I would like to make a motion for approval of replacement of windows, what were those?
A
A
through
through
G.
G.
Yeah.
As submitted, and then should it be a deferral on the other ones pending staff review, or?
I think it's a denial and they can work with staff because they've got to come back to the board. And I think if it's just repair replacement, we don't,
Okay,
we just deny it and they can work with staff and repair
okay.
and replace.
Okay.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor for approval of replacement of windows A through G and denial of the remaining application. Do I have a second to Bill's motion?
Second.
Becky, if the motion to vote. Bill,
Yay in favor.
Becky,
Yay in favor.
the chair votes to the majority and the motion passes unanimously. Thank you.
One clarification, the denial, there's something to be said that the existing windows in the main house can be done at that staff level.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was, we, instead of you coming back before the board, you could just work with staff on.
Right.
On that.
Thank you very much.
we would just need, pick up,
Yes.
we would just need a window survey provided, so that we can document which window.
Absolutely, absolutely. No, we'll figure out the format for that. Yes, thank you.
Agenda item 5 is 45 Legree Street. Brian, if you'll give us an introduction overview of this project, please.
45 Green Street is in Charleston County, also state, and it's in the survey by legal historic. Seeking conceptual approval for a new landscape complexity. With the property's location on the green.
Good evening, my name is Candace Young. It was nice to meet with y'all this morning, so better here. So the client here would like to add, relieve some of the parking on the street by, encompassing as much parking as they can in their property. They would also like to, update the new fencing if possible. And previously the site had a pretty narrow drive entry. They actually witnessed the former owner hitting the fence line, which is why when I was speaking earlier this morning about how it was, wobbly and falling apart. So they had taken that out, and then existing landscaping, the previous homeowner had loved his prize boxwood, so he claimed those back. And then as well as just some digging from plumbing happened. So the site is a little bit more open at the moment. But their desire is, to have as many cars as they can on the property. They would like to widen the existing drive entry as much as possible, which would include moving over the current tree well. The current state of the concrete sidewalk is pretty busted up and broken, so they would just like to, get it all repaired all at once. New fencing along the front of the property, and a new pedestrian gate. They would like to have more of a parking court situation in this area with, brick header course borders and salt void, finished concrete with a diamond score pattern, as well as redoing the drive up the along the side of the home, with a ribbon drive of brick and concrete with a mondo grass strip in the middle. They had previously wanted to enclose the entire property so that their dog and their kids, you know, just they had a fully closed in space. But following submittal, there had been previously this entire section of the property line had been separated with fencing from the neighboring property. And the neighbor has come with us now that there is a easement from, you know, 1917 for some kind of accessory unit access, and has now asked that nothing, or well, I guess not asked, but has said that she would like nothing to be replaced here. So I guess the client was just hoping that we could get an idea of the initial pulse of, you know, all the new cosmetic and functional updates. And then we would try to find the best solution following, you know, what is approved and how we can work with, you know, what's approved or what's not approved, those kind of things. We have some precedents of just, you know, other, you know, neighbors on LeGree and Trad nearby that have these kind of more parking courts in front of the home, as well as we would provide, you know, 5-foot screening along the front of the home. And then as far as like the gate additions, they're just trying to dress it up just a little bit more than a picket gate. We couldn't find any references of how old the gate was or the fencing was, but I didn't expect it to be too old since it had that concrete footing along the front of the property. This would indicate the kind of new elevation. Obviously, the sliding gate is kind of like a pending situation now that we know of the easement. But yeah, those things would be there on, but yes, that's all I have for now.
Any questions for the applicant?
Yeah, one, can you flip back to your site plan? Yeah, are the front steps of the house being replaced too?
No, sir. Front steps and railing will remain. There'll be some repointing of the mortar joints, but that's about.
Yeah, because I just, yeah, the looks like the bottom step has a different form to it than what's out there now. Maybe I'm reading it wrong.
It has like it's a brick, like curved, I don't have a good picture of it right here, but it is like a brick curved
Okay,
edging on it.
I probably just didn't get up close enough this
A
morning.
lot going on in there.
And then the dotted line, is that the easement you were talking about?
No, this would have been this is just a 3-foot setback.
Oh, okay.
The easement, actually, I didn't have anything on surveys. And then when I first went to the property, they had all of that chain link fencing along. So there was just no indication that a easement existed, or and it wasn't until the neighbor brought it to our attention.
Any other questions? Thank you. Do we have anyone speaking from the public?
Laurel Fay with the Preservation Society of Charleston. The PSC appreciated the applicant's time on the site this morning. Historic photographs that HCF and PSC found from the 1920s and 40s show the existing iron fence and coping wall. So it may have been likely constructed at the same time as the circa 1904 house, and we feel it should be preserved as a historic site feature. We also encourage the applicant to pursue exploring pervious material options for the parking court.
Tilly, Historic Charleston Foundation, HCF appreciated the opportunity to visit the site this morning. Based on our observations of the site visit and the historical research, we believe that the front wall and fence are historic and would like to see that feature retained. We also would like to request that the amount of impervious material not be reduced.
Is there anyone else speaking from the public? Okay, Frankie, if you'll give us a detailed comment and recommendation, please.
So staff also had some concerns about the knee wall being removed. Sliding gate is atypical for residential properties. Portions of the knee wall and driveway have been demolished without any form of approval. And while the house is set back from the street, BAR does not typically approve parking or extensive hardscaping in front of the house. Per BAR policy statement for hardscaping, paving should be limited to the minimal required for driveway access and a limited amount for recreational use. In no case should the entire unbuilt area of the property be paved with impervious surface. And asphalt and plain poured concrete residential driveways are not appropriate in historic districts and are generally not allowed. Staff conditions for approval, pedestrian gate should remain centered on the front porch. Excuse me, that should say front porch and stair. And the hardscaping should be limited per the BAR policy for hardscaping. Staff recommendation is a deferral-free study.
Thank you, Frankie. Ms. Young, did you want to respond to or clarify anything raised in public comment?
Appreciate the comments. Thank you.
All right, public comment in the applicant's presentation is now closed. We'll move into board discussion and a vote. Yeah, sure.
It's a, I mean, it's a nice design. It's well done, but I don't think, and we've been fairly consistent with this with the board and not putting parking in front yards. So I don't like the idea of the parking court out front. The house has a fairly long driveway. I mean, it's got a great deal of parking for downtown Charleston standards. So I don't see where any more is needed. I think the 14-foot wide curb cut is pretty excessive for downtown. It's almost like they want the owners wanting a suburban solution to their parking needs, and this is downtown Charleston. But as far as the materials and everything and the detailing of what's being proposed, all that's nice. I just don't think it's an appropriate solution. The gate and the iron fence, they are historic. You know, some people may not think something from the 1920s is historic. It is. So I think they need to those need to remain as well. I guess that's kind of it for me.
I'm in agreement with you and the staff. I think, when you look at the precedent, I just want to comment on the precedent images about parking. Particularly, like the only one that's potentially in front of the house is at 17 LeGree, but that's a very unusual property where that house is set very far back. And that parking is sort of very minimally kept in to the right. So I just wanted to comment on that. But yeah, it's not in favor of that paving that entire board.
I'm in agreement, especially that I know we saw last night this morning that it looked like it was historic, that knee wall, the brick.
Yeah, the knee wall where it's been chopped off the driveway, it's a brick knee wall that has a stucco finish to it, so it's not a concrete. So it's got quite a bit of age to it.
And I know this morning it doesn't look like anything historic was moved when that wall was taken down. That fence, it's a chain link fence in the pictures from 07. So I don't think the historic was removed when they did that, but I'm in agreement. Be in agreement with the deferral based on board and staff comments.
I would make a motion for deferral for these. I guess.
Staff observations and conditions.
Yeah, that is.
See, just board discussion. Okay, we have a motion on the floor for deferral for restudy with staff observations and conditions and board discussion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
You, Bill, motion to Becky,
Yeah, in favor.
Bill,
Yeah, in favor.
chair votes the majority and the motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Ms. Young.
So I wouldn't have to come back to a board meeting. It was to be restudy. Y'all will review what I submit to staff.
Yeah, you'll have to come back before the
Okay,
board.
cool. Thank you. Thank you all so much.
Agenda item 6, 246 Street. Frank, you have to give us an introduction, overview of the project, please.
246 Town Street is in Canterbury, Borough, District 4. It is category 4, circa 1852 in the Old City District. Requesting conceptual approval for exterior changes and repairs to the 2000 century roof site. Is the property's location on Town Street. I'll turn it over to the applicant.
Thank you, board. 246 Cumming Street is in a little bit of disrepair. Been sitting for a while. It's got about a 40-inch oak tree growing through the piazza. That has collapsed most of the existing piazza. So what our intention is to, as closely as possible, put this back together. We were able to locate a picture from the 1985, I believe, architectural inventory photos. And that is the basis of what we've been able to use to kind of figure out what this was before a lot of the damage occurred. So as we're going through, there's wood siding, there's different size wood siding. Most of the original house is I think 9 3/4 exposure siding, where some of the backside is closer to a 6.5-inch exposure. So it looks like when a rear portion of the piazza got filled in, different size siding, some different siding it all together, but you can see kind of the condition as I'm trying to take pictures here through just the bits and pieces of what this tree has demolished. Now, so you can see it's kind of grown through the stairs, grown through everything that's here. And what you can't see here is that the piazza used to come right across here with the roof. All that's been fallen over because of that tree. So really what we would like to do is, as closely as possible, put it back together with a few caveats. And I'll do that. So we're not changing what the windows placement is. We're not changing what the siding exposure is. We really just want to make this look as closely as we can to the architectural inventory photo. And that includes a little gable over the piazza door, a little bit of trim, redoing the trim that's there now, because what is there now is not historic. It's been piecemealed a few times, it seems. Some of the existing rake trim is intact. We're gonna use that as a base. The gable ends are intact. The parapet wall here is not, it's gone. The little return is gone. So we're going to try as best we can to put that back together. Again, putting it back together, we do have 4x4 posts at the piazza that are currently wrapped with 1x trim. So we are proposing to go back in with that. That is a little bit of a difference to that architectural inventory picture, which does have the canonical columns. Other changes that we are proposing is currently there's a little bit of a bathroom addition that was done sometime. It's all out of cinder block. It's a little bit low. It's really tight. We are proposing to clad that in a wood siding. With a 6-inch exposure, create a little bit different than the rest of the siding itself. And you can kind of see here, there's a really low slope 5V metal roof currently above the back side of the house here. We would like to move just this side, just the north side wall up a little bit, change that roof line slightly. Do that so you can see the really low slope here, then goes really steep down to a very low bearing point. We just kind of want to match that gable up on the front, and the reason for that is currently on the first floor you step down about 3 or 4 inches into this room from the rest of the house. And it's the current kitchen or what's left of the kitchen. On the first floor with a 6'8.5" ceiling height, which is not code compliant. It's really not livable. It's really, really tiny and cramped. And on the second floor, you actually step down 2 steps with non-code compliant steps, almost 1.5 feet. To still have a 6'2" head height as you're kind of ducking through, and then it kind of vaults up a little bit to an 8-foot ceiling height. So we would like to leave this bearing point intact and just raise this up a little bit to make that backspace a little bit more livable. And then the other major change is currently the roof itself is 3 different roof types. And I wish I included this in the submittal. I did this morning. It's a little bit of an analysis of the different roof types. Over the existing piazza, or was the existing piazza roof, is rolled good asphalt shingles, about 20% of the overall roof. About 3/4 of the historic structure here is hand crimped metal roof, 25% of it, and all of this backside is 5V. The 5V metal roof makes up about 44% of the existing roof, and the hand crimped metal roof is about 33%, 34%. You can see in that graphic that Ms. Turner has right now. So we are proposing to simplify that a little bit, go back in with one material. We would like that to be asphalt shingles. There is asphalt already up there. So that is a bit of a change along with the roof structure over that CMU portion, modifying that a little bit and making it the same roof material as everything else. We do want to keep the existing chimneys intact and just kind of build around them. I think that's everything I have.
Any questions for the applicant? Do we have anyone speaking in public?
Laurel Fay with the Preservation Society of Charleston. The PSC is thrilled to see this historic Charleston single house getting much needed preservation attention, and that many of the restorative measures proposed are based on photographic documentation. To round out this scope of work informed by the 1985 survey photo, we encourage reinstating the balustrade on the first floor piazza to match that of the second floor and pursuing in-kind replacement of the character-defining standing seam metal roof. We look forward to seeing this project take shape. Thank you.
Anyone else speaking? Okay, Frank, you could get a city staff comments and recommendations.
Great. Staff had a couple observations. One, we also appreciate the return of the parapet for the historic photos. And we have no opposition to the change in roof pitch or height on the existing addition. Our only condition for approval will be retaining the metal roof, at least on the most historic portion of the house. Staff recommendation is a conceptual approval with staff condition and preliminary final review by staff.
Thank you, Frankie. Patrick, do you want to respond to or clarify anything?
Just to clarify a little bit too, because I would love to go back in. So that's part of the discussion is a non-hand crimped metal roof part of it, or since the largest portion of the existing roof is 5V, I know that's not always the best from the historical standpoint, but if we're matching in kind, the most prevalent roof is 5V option, and that's the asphalt.
We mean the standing seam.
That's what I figured. Asking questions here. But otherwise, I don't think I have. Thank you.
All right, public comment in the applicant's presentation is not closed. So the board discussion and I'm in agreement with staff. I think this is right.
Yeah, this has been a mess for a long time. I agree about the roof, that go back to standing seam, although the addition, I'm fine if it's a different material. historic body of the building, it should go back as annexing. The, I brought this up on some previous ones, you know, if you wanted to upgrade the stair railing on the piazza, feel free to, you know. I agree with the Preservation Society that the first floor railing should go back. The column spacing on the piazza, it's for some reason, they're kind of erratic, and I'm wondering if that's their original spacing.
I don't believe it is. They do not align with the piers that do remain below. I
Yeah.
think they'd have to be respaced to actually have more structural integrity.
I would like to see them go back in their original locations, more of a consistent rhythm, because they're kind of a hodgepodge of width right now, so. But other than that, I think it's great. You know, this thing needs a lot of love.
I agree. I can't, and I'm not sure, you know, that handrail on the first floor. I can't tell if it was in every bay. There may have been an opening there to allow access to the yard. But I think at least that front bay where you see it from the street, it's important.
Yeah, I think you could leave one bay
I
out
think you
for
could leave
for
one bay
steps,
open,
you know.
yeah.
So reintroduce it on a portion of the first floor. Reintroduce that railing on a
Yeah.
portion. Who wants to make a motion? Bill?
Yes, I would make a motion for conceptual approval with staff comments, and board comment to reintroduce the balustrade on the first floor piazza, except where the step would be. And then also to look at readjusting the column spacing to align with the original locations. Piazza. And approval of an alternate roof material on the addition. But I think you cover that stuff comment. Right.
Yeah,
I think you distinguish.
Yeah.
I can clarify it,
Okay,
so I will clarify it in my note.
so preliminary and final review by staff?
Oh, one other thing, sorry. The new door that's going up on the second floor piazza, it should really match the first floor. Do a panel door up there.
All right, we have a motion on the floor for conceptual approval with staff conditions and some board conditions. One, to reintroduce the balustrade on the first floor piazza. Two, to readjust the column spacing to align with the original spacing. And three, the new door on the second floor should match the first floor with preliminary and final review by staff. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Motion to a vote, Bill,
Yeah, in favor.
Becky.
Yeah, in favor.
The chair votes the majority and the motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Agenda item 7 is 6 appointments. Frankie, if you'll give us some introduction to the project, please.
Eight, it is category 2, circa 1830, in order for a pleasure. Requesting conceptual approval for renovation and addition to the structure. Property location on Atlantic. I will turn it over to you.
Alexi Gregoria, representing Emily Whipple, the owner. And we're requesting to essentially add an alternate, an existing back building to accommodate a kitchen, which this house doesn't currently I mean, a commensurate version that is appropriate for the house as it is. These are views of the house from the street. And I took a number of views of the house just to show what is visible and not visible. So I'll go on through that. So here are some photographs of what you basically can see from the gate. And then this side of the house. Basically, the most vulnerable spot is this at the end of Zigzag. When you're looking back this way, you can see a little bit of the back wall, the north wall of that existing building that we're proposing to expand. These are additional photographs that I took, and I wanted to concentrate on what you see from Atlantic Street. I took this photograph with this telephoto. It shows that you could kind of see through there, but it's really, very little. From Zigzag, you do see this. This is the east wall. And our proposal doesn't change that wall. It remains the same, except that it would be a new material, it'll be clean and not old. And again, this is the view from Zigzag where you do see a little bit of that wall. It will be extended a little bit, but there are no windows in it. It's just extended in kind. These are Sanborn maps that show that wood structure in the back has been there. Well, this is the 1888. This is 1844, 1855. And so the wood structure remains there. It's shown as a two-story structure. In the 1844 map, a garage appears and a brick bathroom. In the 1855 map, that still exists, but it no longer exists anymore. So only the wood structure remains. Now, we did have Russell Rosen come and take a look at that building in the back. And his assessment was that there is some old material in there, but over the years, there's been so much work done kind of here and there that it's really a mix. And I show that here. This is the west wall of that existing wood structure, and it's got old and new material on it. Now look more closely at the windows and doors, and they all appear to be factory manufactured, so they're not really old. This is a plan showing, so this is the existing building here, and this is here is showing, that dark line is showing the existing wood structure, and the blue shows the addition. We're adding about 8'6" to it. This shows it without it, this shows it with it. And this is showing a little bit of the design. I'm going to go, so the roof, it's basically going to be a low slope roof with drains probably on the north side. And we have a connector here that is slipping under the porch and not really touching the porch structure. So this is the existing west elevation, showing the building, the existing building and the existing back house. And basically we have this right now is acting kind of like a support for the kitchen. This is where the kitchen is right now. This is the existing house. The owner has engaged Rockwell for a number of years now, and they've been slowly restoring the whole house. So all the windows, the stucco on the exterior, the porches and all that. And so now they're requesting that the house have a proper kitchen. So this is the elevation with the proposed kitchen and the pipe and connecting it. This is the front elevation from which, you don't see the addition. And all I can say is that, they've restored it very nicely. This is the north elevation and it shows the existing condition. This is what the addition will look like to the north, and this is the part that is visible. It's basically this part here that's visible from zigzag. The materials we would use would be similar to the materials you would find in a wood structure in kind of outward. And this is the east elevation, and it doesn't change. So all we're doing is, refinishing in kind, that material and all that. The gray is wrong, it's supposed to be pink. And this is a view I constructed, basically taken from that front gate, looking, and you basically can't see the kitchen addition from that. That's it.
Any questions for the applicant? Thank you. Do we have anyone speaking?
Keith Utilities for Charleston Foundation. HCF appreciates proposed addition is subordinate in scale and minimally visible. However, HCF cannot support this application until we have some additional clarity regarding the age of the structure at the rear. Thank you.
Laurel Fay with the Preservation Society of Charleston. The PSC has been glad to see rehabilitation efforts at this property over the past several years and applaud the owner and project team for their work. Given that the alterations have been made over time to this historic rear outbuilding, we agree there is room for creativity to make this a functional space. However, we ask the board to ensure that the evolution of the historic property can be easily read by limiting expansion of the existing footprint, which is consistent with the 1888 Sanborn map. Similarly, the historic wraparound piazza is a character-defining feature of this property that should be preserved. Thank you.
Anyone else speaking? Okay, Frankie, if you'll give us city staff comments and recommendations.
So the area of the piazza infill is not visible from a public right. And the rearmost addition is visible from a portion of Atlantic and Zigzag Alley. Proposal is demolishing the facade of an existing addition, which dates to 1888 per the Sanborn maps, and has had the existing dimensions since then. Also, since this is a category 2, it could not be approved at staff level. I will note that after staff compiled our observations, we realized that this property had to receive a variance for non-conforming lot coverage. So we do have jurisdiction regardless of visibility from public right. A staff condition for approval would be to restudy the massing of the rearmost addition. And our recommendation would be to restudy with the staff. Any step board.
Thank you, Frankie. Did you want to respond to or clarify anything raised in the public comment or the city staff comments and recommendations?
So we studied rear.
The massing? The massing of the rearmost addition?
I mean,
Okay, thank you. All right, public comment and the applicant's presentation is now closed. We'll move into board discussion and vote.
When I walked by there yesterday, I think absent of vegetation, you will see a little bit of this porch enclosure. I'm never in favor of porch. The addition to the rear structure, I think it can be added onto. However, it needs to be done in a way where you can still recognize the original form of that rear portion of the building. Right now, it just sort of obliterates its original form. You can't even, you won't be able to distinguish it from the new work. So I think something needs to be done to, if there's some hyphening, drawing in the front of the addition to where it exposes the corners of that rear building. Something needs to happen. Maybe the roof line changes, but right now that historic rear extension is being completely lost.
How about the size of it? Would you, if they were to retain in some way the original fenestration, what about how large it is, just to give them some
Yeah, I
guidance?
don't have an issue with how far it comes out. I have an issue with the porch enclosure, but the addition to the rear.
So it's not the size, it's the problem, it's the,
It's the problem is that you can no longer recognize that
Mhm.
historic building form right there. It's
I agree.
being obliterated.
Becky, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree, because I think that's you'll see that form from the public way. My mind was going to the purview over the historic fabric that would be removed in that case. That's all it is. So I don't know. But yeah, the addition's not going to be, if it gets pulled in, it probably will be very minimally visible.
What about the porch infill?
I think the porch infill, just, I think it has to be confirmed that it's not visible. So, may require.
So,
We were basing it on just on the drawing itself. Travis and I did a site visit to figure out the visibility of the rear alteration, not of the porch. I just did a line study.
I think what you'll see is not the portion that's going to be on the porch itself, but the portion
like this.
that
Is extended.
that connects that porch enclosure to the new rear structure. I think that's what you're gonna see.
So I will just add that clarification to my comment about.
You want to
because
click
info.
back, can you click back to the slide, Travis? Just want to make sure that we give the applicant the guidance. It's almost the first one. What we're talking about that we think.
And I think in trying to join those two forms, the porch enclosure with the back extensions, I think you're also kind of, you're obscuring, even further obscuring the form of that piazza turn as well.
What we're worried about, the portion being seen of the porch enclosure is not this, it's this piece. That's what Oh, the portion of the porch enclosure that we're worried about being seen from the public right of way is not this portion, it's this piece.
Yeah.
That's what we were talking about. Okay. But what did you think about, and maybe you just said this, the actual size of the expansion of the addition? I'm with Bill that I'm okay with the size of it, it's just the.
It's the execution. And
Yeah.
Right,
how
you have to be able to read the
Yeah.
original footprint.
Yeah.
And then distinguish how the addition.
Make a motion? think
Yeah, just keep it.
Of the whole thing,
Yeah.
and one, it's probably the visibility, we need to say the visibility of the porch enclosure, and then, I guess restudy of the addition.
Yeah, I would say a deferral with restudy based upon staff and board comments and discussion. You can just go back and listen to the YouTube. And Frankie can help. Walk you through it.
All right, we have a motion on the floor for deferral for re-city based on staff and board comments and discussions. Do I have a second to Bill's motion?
Second,
You, Becky, I put the motion to a vote. Bill,
Yeah, in favor.
Becky,
yeah, in favor.
the chair votes to the majority and the motion passed unanimously. Thank you. Agenda item 8, 24 Pitt Street. Frankie, if you give us an introduction overview of the project, please. And I can type. Sure.
Little drop downs for who made the motion. Okay. 24 Pitt Street is in Charleston Village, Council District 8. It is a category 3 circuit in the Old Historic District. They are requesting conceptual approval to enlarge and enclose porch. All right, I'll turn it over to the applicant.
Good evening. Thank you so much for having me here. What we're discussing tonight is a proposal for enlarging and closing our rear porch. I'd just like to run through this presentation with you very shortly. So on this first page, what you'll see is an image of the porch in question. And if we go here, you'll see that there's a site plan. On the left are the existing conditions, and on the right are the conditions that we are proposing to or ask permission for. So basically, the idea is that at the rear of this house, there is a kitchen addition that was put on in this house. And this porch as it exists is currently very narrow. I think it's about 5 or 6 feet wide. And so it's certainly enough to walk through. But in terms of usefulness as a porch, it doesn't really offer any utility. And so what my clients are hoping to accomplish is hoping to have some outdoor seating area where they'll be able to eat outdoors without being mauled by mosquitoes. And so the idea is to try to expand on the existing porch, but only bring it out to the width of the house so that they could sort of snugly fit a small dining table outside. So as we can see from looking at the Sanborn maps, if you look at 24 Pitt, this is from the 1888 map. You can see the kitchen addition and but you don't see that side porch. Likewise, going on to all the way up to the 1944 map, you can see that side porch never existed. And so we look at these context photos. You can see on the bottom that there is a view from Pitt Street looking at the main facade of the building, trying to give you an idea of the visibility of what you'll see from the street. And the photos above are various views of the existing porch and how it connects to the rear of the house. So what we have here are above are the existing plan views showing the floor plan and the roof plan of the existing porch. Beneath it would be our proposed plan. As you can see, there's an L shape to this porch where there's a set of masonry stairs that go out towards the backyard. What we're proposing to do instead is to bring out the porch so that it's the full width of that rear jut out and have the stairs that turn 90 degrees and recess into that so that you can go out directly onto the porch with seating area to the rear. In terms of roofing this, because there's a few, I wanted to avoid interfering with the piazza that was on the other portion of the house. And so rather than bringing out that gable roof, we're proposing to have a flat roof that is exiting out towards the rear and has a parapet along the side, which you'll see in the elevations. So looking at the existing and proposed, you'll see that the idea is with the parapet to match the level of the existing cornice or crown molding that adjoins the edge of the existing piazza and use that as datum, and then have a cornice beneath that will wrap around towards the back. We're trying to differentiate this porch from what is there now by using square columns instead of round ones, so that we can have a differentiation between what was there and what we're hoping to put in. Let's see if there's, I think there were a couple other, nope. So I think this should be fairly straightforward, but if there are any questions or comments, I would welcome.
Any questions for the applicant?
The chimney that's being removed, do you know anything about it, age or?
I don't know. It's fairly small. So I think it might have been
Stove.
for a stove or something. But we're asking to remove it, it jumps into it, and so far as we know, there's not a fireplace on the other side. The fireplaces are in the main portion.
It's probably a cook stove or something.
Yeah, I suspect so.
Any other questions? Thank you. Do we have anyone speaking? Okay, Frankie, if you'll give the city staff comments and recommendations, please.
Right, staff just had observation that this proposal looks like a very traditional infill porch. And we are recommending a conceptual approval with preliminary and review by staff.
Thank you. Did you want to respond to or clarify anything raised in the,
No, I don't think so.
all right, public comment in the applicant's presentation is now closed. We'll move into board discussion and a vote.
I agree, the porch is back there now is not original, so I don't have any issue with that porch going away. And I think I'm okay with the wider porch, but what I'm kind of hung up on with this one is that the new porch is sort of melding into the existing piazza, and there's no distinction between the two. I almost think that existing corner column on the existing piazza, I think it should probably remain. And then the new porch just ever so slightly step back, maybe the depth of that corner column, so that you can still kind of get an idea of what the original form of that piazza once was. And but the idea of taking this one off, I have no issue with that.
I agree. I didn't like the extension. I mean, right now you can still read the diagram of the classic porch from in the corner. So I don't want it has to be, the new porch has to be distinguished from that corner. Preserved.
And you know, this is a beautiful house, and it's had some unfortunate fortune closings in the past, and I don't want to muddy that, you know, anymore, you know. They need to be distinct.
I have nothing to add.
Frankie, do you have a sense of enough of a sense what we're looking for to get this off the staff, or?
I think so.
Okay.
You're gonna have a fourth condition in there,
Yeah,
portrait people then.
yes. I will make a motion for conceptual approval with preliminary and final review by staff, with the condition that the existing first floor corner piazza column remain, and the new porch step in to be no further out than the rear of that corner column. See that?
All right, we have a motion on the floor for conceptual approval with preliminary and final review by staff of the board condition that the existing first floor corner piazza column remain with the new porch step in to be no further out than the rear corner. Do I have a second?
Second.
Vote, Bill,
Yeah, in favor.
Becky,
Yeah, in favor.
the chair votes the majority and the motion passes unanimous. Thank you. Agenda item 9, 127 Ashley Avenue. Frankie, if you'll give us an introduction overview of the project, please.
127 Ashley, in Austin Village. 8, it is a category 4, circa 1880 in the Old Historic District, requesting conceptual approval for exterior alteration for the administration. Is the property location on Ashley? I will find out.
Hello, my name is Jocelyn Jane. I'm the applicant here for the owner. They're interested in turning the attic into a third floor multi-use area, the office and or kids playroom and media room. Basically here to request the ability to change what you see here as the gable louver vent. There's one on the front here, and then there's one on the rear as well that matches similar size. So this is the rear, and here's the front. So overall, the size of the actual detail would remain the same, with potentially an inch or two of deviation depending on what is needed for egress. Obviously, there may be a little bit needed depending on how the floor system is finished inside of the attic. That sill may have to be lowered a little bit, but based on preliminary measurements, again, we're talking at the most 3 inches in either direction. But the idea would be maintain the same trim design, so that really essentially the only thing that changes from a visual standpoint is from a louver to a casement window. And obviously that would be to provide the egress and also some light for the new room in addition, or I guess not addition, renovation. That's it.
Any questions? Thank you. Do we have anyone speaking? Frank, you could give us these down comments, recommendations, please.
Staff just had observation that we wanted confirmation of confirmation after window size to ensure that the window in the crowd ease. But staff recommendation was a conceptual approval with preliminary and final review right now.
Thank you. Frankie, did you want to respond to her clarifying?
All set. Thank you.
All right, public comment and the applicant's presentation is now closed. We'll move into board discussion and a vote.
I'm comfortable with it. I mean, it's a much better solution than trying to put dormers on the house or egress. Yeah.
And they're staying in the same.
And they're staying within
Opening.
the same opening.
Bill, did you want to make a motion?
I'd make a motion for conceptual approval with preliminary and final review by staff.
We have a motion on the floor for conceptual approval of preliminary and final review by staff. Do I have a second?
Second.
Becky. Put the motion to a vote. Bill,
Yeah, in favor.
Becky,
Yeah, in favor.
Chair, the majority, and the motion passes unanimously. Agenda item 10, 240 Calhoun Street, has been withdrawn by the applicant. Agenda item 11.
Question, Bill, I'm the owner and I didn't know that it was withdrawn. And I was like copied on any of the paperwork that was submitted either.
Well,
Do you have the drawing in front of you?
no, I don't.
Because they deleted it, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I wasn't made aware that it was withdrawn and I wasn't copied on any of the paperwork.
Your architect emailed and requested it be withdrawn.
Okay, well, he didn't tell me that that was something. He didn't copy me or anything.
Sending.
Sorry, he was the one who submitted it, so when he reached out to
Yeah.
us, we assumed that he
Okay.
had your.
Yeah, well, he did not. And really, it would just be a super fast, quick answer, but you can reschedule. Sorry for trying. Thank you.
Okay, agenda item 11 is 69 King Street. Frankie, if you'll give us an introduction overview of the project, please.
69 King Street is in Charleston, Council District 8. It is a category 3, circa 1792, in the old historic district. They're requesting final approval for modifications to brick stair. This is the property's location on King Street. And I will try to go to the edge.
My name is Joel Trampham with Eva Architects, and we are representing the owners of 69 King Street, Dale and Beth Marcus, who are here with us tonight. I want to thank you for your time this evening, and what we're here to discuss is a modest correction to a non-original entry stair. This change will lead to a significant improvement in a small space that will contribute to the public view of Charleston and will also make a significant improvement for the homeowner. Prior to this application, we'd like to thank city staff, Frankie and Travis. We both met with them and they gave us our time and they voiced support for the application. We also reached out to HCF and Preservation Society. And in their communications, both organizations have each expressed that their organizations have no objections. So I'm going to chat a little bit about what is existing here. And so the scope of the submission is limited to an existing non-original brick entry stair and landing. And as you look at the photos in the upper corner, the masonry of the brick matches the masonry of an addition that does not appear on the 1951 Sanborn. It also is a different color, different size, a different mortar. It has a different tooling to the joint than the original masonry on the house. So it's very clearly an addition. And then in reviewing the Sanborn drawings, this house has had a variety of different kind of entry sequences that have been established over time. At 1902, there was most likely a direct entry of stairs just straight into the house, which is typical for this area of King and Trad Street. And then between 1902 and 1944, a very small piazza was added, which was subsequently removed post 1951 when an addition was added and this entry stair was built. And so the modifications are limited to just this component, and I think Michael will speak a little bit from our office to what we're proposing.
Yes, Michael Stropel, also with the EFIB Architects. So what we're proposing, as you'll see in the plan, there's currently a stair that comes out towards the street and also away from the street. The landing, you'll see, comes out further than the stairs, so it allows easy removal of one side or the other without really making major modifications to the landing itself. And so you'll see an elevation. Our proposal is to remove the portion that is facing the street here. And you'll see sort of a rendering of what that may look like. A couple of things you'll notice in the top image there, which is the existing, is that there's a pretty awkward condition where you've got planting kind of running right into the bottom of a stair. The paving that's been added as well is just a little awkward the way that the stair interacts with the paving. The paving really interacts well with the landing as opposed to the stair, which you'll see in the image below. And then having a relatively large double stair in an extremely small little courtyard area just makes the driveway completely unusable as well, which is one of the main issues. And so we think that what this allows us to do, it allows us to extend that planter as shown in the image below, giving it a more logical place to terminate. It lets us have a more reasonable driveway pattern that interacts with the landing a little bit cleaner than what's there now. Our pedestrian access remains intact up the driveway, which is very common for these really tight, small lots up King Street and Trad Street and Church Street, this area. And we feel like it really just cleans up and orders the entry sequence for the homeowner as well. So we're happy to answer any questions if you guys have.
Any questions? Okay. Do we have anyone speaking from the public? Frankie, if you give us any staff comments and recommendations, please.
Staff has had some observations. The proposed area of alteration has been previously modified. The piazza was removed sometime prior to 1955 for the Sanborn maps. While staff understand the reason for the alteration, changing a symmetrical stair to being unsymmetrical, and the portion of the stair being removed addresses the street and creates the pedestrian access from the street. That said, staff recommendation is a conceptual approval with preliminary and final review by staff.
Thank you, Frankie. Joel, Michael, do you want to respond to or clarify anything in the staff comments?
Sure. So we did walk up and down King Street, Church Street, looked at a lot of these, and I think having asymmetrical stairs is pretty common. These really, really tight properties. There's a variety of conditions. Some stairs face the street, some stairs don't, some stairs face backwards like what we're proposing, some stairs face sideways. I think on these extremely tight and small lots, it's really the site conditions that define the entry sequence. And so we feel like this is a better solution for this particular property based on those site conditions.
All right, public comment and the applicant's presentation is now closed. We'll move into board discussion and a vote. This picture is really good, so I think they're right. It's sort of awkward. I'm looking at
Yeah,
No, that's
this
okay.
picture where you sort of created this, yeah, it does look
Yeah.
awkward, so I'm in,
I don't
I'm
have,
fine
I don't
with
have
this.
any issue.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I mean, like, it's almost like you got lucky that it's this perfect condition of the landing being this thing, and then you could actually just easily take it off. And the runs. So I think there's no loss of really character. to the house.
I agree. Becky, did you want to make a motion?
Yes, there weren't any conditions, were there?
I think they were just staff observations, but I don't. think we need to Just.
Right, okay, I would make a motion for conceptual approval of preliminary and final review by staff.
We have a motion on the floor for conceptual approval of preliminary and final review by staff. Do I have a second for Becky's motion?
I'll second.
The motion's for a vote. Becky,
Yeah, in favor.
Bill,
Yeah, in favor?
chair votes the majority, and the motion passes unanimous.
Thank you all very much.
Okay, agenda item 13 is 72 Vanderhorst Street. Frankie, if you'll give us a introduction to the side as well. Oh, I didn't, well, excuse me, I'm just moving along. 29 Chalmers Street. Frankie, give us an introduction, overview of the project, please.
One didn't get drawn. 89 Chalmers Street is in French Quarter, Council District 8, category 4, section 1888 in the Old Historic District. They're requesting conceptual approval for a new staircase. And the property's location on Chalmers, and I will turn it over to the applicant.
All right, well, good evening. My name is Dan Schaefer. I am here on behalf of the German Friendly Society at 29 Chalmers Street. And the German Friendly Society was founded in 1766, making it one of the oldest German organizations in the United States. It was established as a social and mutual assistance organization to pay for sick benefits to immigrants, and it has been continuously serving this community throughout their time here for 250 years. So the structure has a long and layered history. It was built in 1828 and originally served as the Bible Depository. In 1882, it was acquired by the South Carolina Art Association. It was used as an art school until 1908. And it was later purchased by the Confederate Home and College, at which time they added a third floor to provide dormitory rooms for young women. So the German Friendly Society moved in the building in 1942, which was during World War II, and has held weekly meetings there for over 80 years. The most recent renovation drawings we could locate date all the way back to September of 1990. The project before you tonight is limited in scope, but very important in purpose. The building currently has one interior non-compliant stair. It's located in the center of the structure. It's tight, it's steep, it doesn't have clear head height. In fact, there's a sign marked Achtung, which is German for danger. It's a head knocker on the way down. So an endearing detail, but not a viable means of egress by modern code standards. Over. Yeah, so there's also an existing, you can see it up here in this picture, fire ladder in the exterior of the building. It connects the second and third floors through the use of a ladder. Unfortunately, when the east wall of Washington Square Park was constructed, it prevented that ladder from actually reaching the ground. So what remains today is about a 10 to 12 foot final drop. That last step is certainly a doozy, rendering basically unsafe and unusable. So we were asked to help provide a code compliant secondary means of egress while being deeply respectful to this historic building, the park, and the adjacent fabric. So the site conditions, go back a couple slides here. So it is located here, Chalmers Street to the top. The site conditions make this very constrained problem. Chalmers Street to the north, the building attached to the east, to the south is a private property built up to the property line. So as a result, the only viable location for egress is to the west into Washington Square Park. So we explored numerous configurations. We met with the city architect, we met with the building officials early in the process. And through doing so, we collectively agreed that a simple switchback stair is the only code compliant and physically achievable solution, and the city is willing to grant an easement for this to happen. We looked at spiral stair, the building officials wouldn't accept it, it doesn't meet code. We looked at single run stairs, they would be over 80 feet in length, and not feasible with the existing trees. So this solution represents the narrowest, most restrained option we have available. So our goal in this is to create a stair as small as code allows, be respectful, and we want this to be a quiet piece of civic architecture rather than a dominant feature in the park. So I have a sketch here that we did. It's just a suggestion of the design here as a thoughtful addition, a sculptural piece that gently lands in the park, positioned between the mature trees. We envision this being supported by an ornamental central column, a simple steel stringer, open stairs. And one idea we're pursuing right now is one of the members of the German Friendly Society is blacksmith. So I think there's a cool opportunity that we could collaborate with the College of Building Arts on railing design. So we've been doing a little studying of some railings in the area. We think it can be informed by the vocabulary of the existing iron fence of the park. We envision maybe a simpler picket as you come up between the landings, and those landings that are curved have an opportunity to do something more refined and more ornamental, perhaps drawing from some motifs of the park or the society's crest or other references. And we'll study this in great detail as we move forward. I'm almost done here. I know we got one. Couple other details where we interface the building. We'll retain the existing openings there. Right now, there's 6 panel doors that are there. I think what we'd like to see is no hardware. Needs to be exit only, keep minimal frames, and provide a door material that will visually blend into the existing stucco wall. The intent is that they kind of disappear and read as wall condition. And then the pathway we also thought was really important, and we obviously don't want to encourage people to go to the stairs. So as we look at trying to match the surroundings, the beds and mulch and grass, using materials that are part of the park and not less looking like a hard edge intervention. And then finally, preventing people from going up the stair. We don't want this to become a little new selfie spot in the park. So having some kind of hardware there allow people to exit out but not go up that stair. So in summary, we're looking for a solution minimally impactful, as light as we can, being respectful of the park. And we appreciate and welcome any feedback you may have. We're very early on in conceptual, so love to hear your thoughts.
Any questions for the applicant?
So it wouldn't fit in that space behind the building?
Not their space.
No.
Actually, the building owner was approached at one point. It's not to a public right of way. That's a private driveway. So the German Friendly Society is built right up to the property line. So that property owner owns that property and would not allow us to egress. We even tried for an easement to come down into his space and just come and gently come down the park, hiding more of the stair behind the building, and he was not open to allowing that.
Yeah, it looks, I mean, from
I
that
know,
looking at
on
the
the-
site plan,
yeah.
it looks like there's a space. There's land behind the building that's
Can you get back to the site plan?
on their
please?
property.
And I'll show you on the,
One more, yeah. The space here.
yeah, that line must have been, that's not, it's all the way up. There's not room. Yeah, that's narrowing that drawing. I can share the GIS map with you. The building is right on the property line there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if there was a space there, it'd certainly be an opportunity to sneak that through.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, I didn't catch that.
So right now, the egress is in that stair inside the building that's not compliant.
One stairs, I think the average age population in that society is probably in the early 70s, and they show up on Wednesday night and have dinner and drinks and not safe condition.
I'm on the GIS now.
Is that what you're seeing as well?
Yeah. Any other questions for the applicant?
Well, there's an elevator, right, and the
There is an elevator.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there's stairs to get into the building to get you to the elevator, but there is a very small passenger elevator in there.
Anything else? Do we have anyone speaking from the public? Frankie, you could give us city staff comments and recommendations, please.
Staff just had the observation that stairs are being required for a fire marshal. And the placement into the park has been agreed upon by the city legal department. Staff recommendation is a conceptual approval with preliminary and final review by staff of permit documents.
Thank you. Mr. Schaefer, did you want to respond to or clarify anything in the staff comments? All right. Public comment and the applicant's presentation is now closed. So we'll move into board discussion and a vote.
They're gonna be pretty prominent, but I understand if that's the only place they can go, I mean, that's the only place. They can go.
Unless it was inside. I think. Unless they took space on the inside. the building.
It's a combination. of He's very, very prominent. Very large. And the way they kind of straddle over the garden wall, I think it's kind of odd. And is there any space within the building that carved out for them?
They're really not, no separation of exits.
I mean, this is a huge civic gesture. This is a huge civic element right in the middle of Washington Square. I guess I'm really,
I appreciate the attempt
mean,
to make it visually, architecturally pleasing.
Yeah.
Maybe if we want to see it, if we were going to give conceptual approval, then it needs to come back so we can.
I can also see this thing becoming a jungle gym.
That's, yeah.
In the perfect world, it would have been a room to put them on the property and then maybe use one of the arches in the wall to punch through to get in access, but there's no room, there's no.
I would be okay with it if we can see it back.
Yeah, the question is, do you try to make it as lightweight and simple as possible, or do you go the opposite direction and try to make a feature out of
What do you think?
it? I don't. Our marshals tell them they have to have it.
I think that's where, I think normally I would say this is too large. It's too.
There's clearly no other exterior space. Said, could they go inside?
We could also defer it just to explore an interior option.
Have you explored interior options?
We have, and we explored options with Beatty. We met with her on several occasions and she was, if I may speak, I'm not supposed to be part of the meeting.
We have a
but-
question for you, so you
Yeah,
may.
so I would say that we explored a lot of options. I think we're aligned in that we want this, if it's gonna be in there, it needs to be a gift to the city and it needs to respect its place in there. And I don't think we'd ever move forward with something that wouldn't feel right in that space. So we're gonna have a lot of work to make that either beautiful. I mean, to Bill's point, either needs to be this folly and thing that's, in the park that's bold and you see it and it's something that's just in the backdrop there, or can we make this visually go away? And I think through the study of the structure and looking at the depths of things and the railing design, there's gonna be a lot of opportunity to bring back something in the next round that we can have a meaningful conversation around how it feels and get it rendered into the park.
And it did go through a lot of meetings before we.
Assume it did. If
Right
it's-
here.
If it's.
I think that's not the final, that was just a suggestive sketch, just kind of to get a conversation started.
Sort of questions on it, like. I mean, if it's gonna be an architectural element, it needs to be an architectural element, not just a
Agree.
switchback, like a metal switchback stair.
It's gonna be in that
It needs to
park,
be
I think.
either a a tower or something that's like really, really bizarre. It sits at the edge of the park and the edge of the building. I think, you know, typically you probably would have seen it coming along the building toward the street. Or something, like kind of engage, like being part of the building, like right now, it feels like I think about liability, honestly, I'm not even the attorney. But I'm like, now you got this thing sitting in the middle of a public park, with anybody able to access it. So I guess if we're gonna approve it sitting here, I actually feel like it has to be like a really beautiful architectural element, like not like, I mean, it can be light and have the stair in it.
Yeah.
But, and I guess that's to your question,
I
do you
understand where you're coming
call more, does that call more attention to it? But I feel like right now it just looks like a fire stair, like. in the
Yeah,
middle of
that's kind of
Washington
my-
Square. Like not even on their, like, this is like the public giving them the stair,
Mhm.
like this is in the park. It's, I don't know, I guess.
I hear what you're saying.
That is like such a beautiful, like, I hate to say it, that's one of my favorite parks. So
It is.
that's just such an elegant spot
Mhm.
that I feel like the stair has to match the level of what's happening in that public space. If the public is going to give them that, which they are doing.
And because it's accessible from three sides, that park, it's, you know, it's not like it's hidden. There's literally an
Yeah,
entrance to the
it's not
park
hidden
right
at all.
next to
I
it.
mean, that has to be a very elegant piece of architecture.
And to do it, it may need to take up more space within the park.
And that, I mean, or it just may need to be. I don't know.
Kind of element within the park with, walkways connecting back to the building.
Something where it just looks more. I mean, more in keeping, like, more at the level of that site, those buildings, that public space. That's the way, I mean, that's a real, that is a very prominent sculptural object right there.
What do you want to do with it for this meeting? I don't agree that we, you know, preliminary and final review by staff. I think we need to see it back, but I don't know if you want to do a conceptual or.
I mean, if we're talking about it in form, other than a switch pattern,
Other forms.
well, it's kind of like what Becky was trying to describe here. Where it may become a structure where there's some.
It's just everything needs to
There's
be
something.
studied a little bit.
It could be also any number of different things, but right now it looks. It's like a fire stair.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
And it needs to not look like a fire stair.
right.
And that's a tall order.
All over. Well, and the drawings have to be. You know, we need to see all elevations and the property line needs to be accurate and stuff like that.
I think it's a deferral.
A restudy based on more
Yeah,
discussion.
I think so. That's the motion.
We have a motion on the floor
For deferral for restudy based on board discussion.
I guess we're saying yes to the location, but. you
Yeah.
know, It,
That's the idea, but
yeah,
Yeah,
how do you make it happen?
okay. Do I have a second to Bill's motion?
that's second.
Motion to vote. Bill,
Yeah, in favor.
Becky,
Yeah, in favor.
your vote to the majority and the motion passed unanimously. Thank you.
Clarification, are you asking for studies of more than just the stair itself? Would you want to look at screening? Do you want to look at enclosing stair? Are we looking at different configurations just to give me some guidance? Or do you just want us to come back with a new solution
Well,
or a series of options at this next step, just so we're not spinning our wheels here?
I like the idea of it being an architectural element in the park,
Yeah.
so I don't,
if you could look at it in that way, not look at it as being something that's a switchback fire stair. Take this opportunity to do something really cool that's.
Easier said than done. but
Yeah, exactly.
It is a tall one.
Exactly. It's very tall order.
It's a challenging
we
one.
need to be
Yeah.
creative, which is what we want.
Yeah.
You to-
It's a that's a significant.
Yeah, everyone says it's a little easy stair project. Yeah. Get it.
Something that 100 years from now, somebody's gonna say, wow, what did the architect was on that? That's really cool.
Got it.
Thank you all very much.
All right, now we're on agenda item 13. 72 Vanderbilt Street. Frankie, if you'll give us an introduction overview, please.
Great. 72 Vanderbilt is in Radcliffe Borough, District 6. It is category 4, circa 1895 in the old historic district, requesting conceptual approval for fenestration changes and screen. This is the property's location on Vanderbilt. I will turn it over to the applicant.
Thank you. My name is Batten with Furlong Architects. I'll just jump into it. We have a few images of the site. We have Vanderhurst and Smith Street, just off the corner there. As Frankie said, it's built in 1895. Has remained, with one exception of this little structure here, has remained the same throughout its history. You can see that the height of the original structure and the height of the porches have remained the same throughout the history as well. Here's a few images of the adjacent structures, the adjacent houses. One of the items that we're going to be requesting is some privacy screens on the upper side porch. And what's important about this image is that if you start to study each singular one, you'll find differences in each singular one. On a few, you have the side porch cut in half, not the full length of the structure. And some here you have it infilled altogether. Here you have a 3-story with the second story filled in solid. You have a little bit more privacy on the lowers of some. Hopefully what we propose is, just to go back to that, what we propose is adding privacy screens. I wouldn't clarify it infill, and I would, hopefully we can achieve something delicate with not changing the scale. Ground floor. What's important about this image is this is the adjacent property and there's no fenestration on that property. The views to the side porch, which I'll be proposing on the first floor, and those privacy screens on the second floor. The views of the adjacent property are unaffected. Of the neighbor looking at the house is unaffected. Just development of some renovation aspects on the interior. Let me jump ahead to the side porches, but you can see the upper side porch is where we're going to be looking at. We have enlarged options and a couple door and window adds and replacements on the lower porch. I have even more enlarged graphics of these, but what I want to point out is that on the lower porch, there's been a window that's been filled in throughout the history. There's solid doors up top that are, the image will show, somewhat generic. What we're proposing is to go back with the matching windows on the side porch that match the front elevation that face the street. This door here is a new door. We propose taking the original door and moving it to the top. The reason to do that is just, it's a pretty narrow door. Our replacement door would be wider, the same look, glass with a solid lower panel and a transom above. On one aspect of the side porch, the rear elevation of the side porch, you'll see in the graphic in a moment, we have a generic wood door. We propose adding glass with a solid lower panel. Those lower panels all would match the sash dimension of the windows adjacent to it. This is the lower porch existing door. And that's the one we propose reusing in its place, a little bit wider, still matching wood door and adding a transom above. This is this generic wood door that enters into the house as well. We propose just making it nicer with all glass. If I go back, this is a door currently. That door is right here. In this graphic, we would propose making it a matching window with the front elevations. The front elevations are 2/2 windows. Further towards the rear of the house, they're 6/6. I showed you that elevation without the detail of adding the privacy screens. Now we're into the privacy screens. What we are proposing is not to infill, but just to add a little bit more privacy. And our solution became, the owner was interested in just adding like a shutter screen look. But the way it evolved is that we're gonna take these doors or make them panels to where they can fold in on top of themselves. So that most of the time they would be open. And then with more privacy, rain, etc., they would be closed. But for the most part, they would have a look of having it both ways, both open and then the option to make it a little more closed off. You can see here also frames nicely with the openings, this scheme of being able to have shutters that fall back on themselves. And to do that, what happens is, I'll get to the structure. To do that, what happens is you end up having a secondary privacy wall behind this existing balcony rail. So this frame gives it a genuine look, not necessarily a cheap look. We propose, because of the sizing, to make these all fit within each other and to fold back on themselves. These would all be custom. But again, here you can see that this has just a little bit more presence and to achieve that they're not cheaply done. That is my presentation, but I do find it important that we plan on keeping the existing rail, and our structure behind that is a secondary structure.
Any questions for the applicant?
The door that you're shifting, that goes into the side addition. What's the reason for shifting that? I mean, right now that they align the upper floor and bottom floor align, and it doesn't look like it's floor plan driven.
Let me get familiar with the plans.
South porch elevation?
Yeah.
And the same
Yeah.
questions.
It's that.
We think alike.
It's not something that we can't overcome, but at the moment, they do, if you look at this lower, it's easy to imagine that this and this are aligned. This is to center on this door here, but that's not, if you felt strongly that it needs to remain, I'm not opposed to that.
Well, I think either it needs to remain or the one upstairs needs to shift also. I mean, it's going into.
Sure.
It's going into an addition, which is not part of the original body of the building, so.
That's correct. Well, you can see that at some point I said that this might have been more than full length, but it doesn't go all the way.
Do you know the approximate width of the main door going in downstairs that you want to widen?
Yes.
How?
I think you.
We're going from 2.7 2'7". This is a 2'7" opening. And we're proposing it go to 3'3". So still keeping it a French door.
Yeah, I've lived in houses with French front doors, and they're a pain.
The but to be clear, you can comment. I think the alignment of the two doors is a good catch. The reason the one we moved down below is to align it on the door to the side porch.
Any other questions?
I don't think so.
Thank you. Do we have anyone speaking? Frankie, if you give the city staff comments and recommendations, please.
I just have some observations. Privacy screens are being connected to the entire second floor piazza. Screens are set inside the existing columns. Our screening policy. There is no evidence for a transom, but that is a typical feature. The door turned to window and the new window is a return to an original condition. And we did want the applicant to confirm which light pattern is more historic. That staff recommendation of the conceptual approval with preliminary and final review by staff.
Thank you, Frankie. Did you want to respond to or clarify anything in the city staff comments and recommendations?
Yeah, one clarification. This is a process clarification. That with some improvements to the interior of the house, if there's issues that we need to come and work with the staff and get resolved correctly, the most appropriately, then we were originally told this was a staff project. So we've been ping-ponged a little back and forth. So if there's some way to segregate the how y'all would vote to where maybe some of the interior stuff can be worked on while we hash out some of these other things.
All right, public comment in the applicant's presentation is now closed. Moving for discussion and a vote.
The new main door on the first floor. Yes, yeah, I always hate to see, these dimensions altered, but I can also understand that's a pretty narrow door. Especially when you're dealing with French doors. I mean, I've lived in houses like that, and you almost have to go in through one door sideways.
We have two upstairs.
Yeah.
You have to go.
Yeah,
Not
so,
big.
Actually, typically what we do is we create it to look, they want that look, we create it, it's a single door.
that's smart.
Because we're not.
You mold, you like mold them together,
Huh?
or you mold two together, that's smart.
But, I mean,
So. And then the other two doors that we were talking about earlier, I do think that their alignment, they need to continue to align, either the one stays where it is or the other shared moves also. I'm a little, I feel flexible on that because that side addition, that side addition is not part of the original form of the house, so I think you have a little bit, I think we have a little more leeway with that. The shuttering of the upstairs, it's just very heavy. And I don't know why anybody would even want to sit there. It's gonna be hot and dark and and then the house next door has no windows on that side, so I can't see that it's for privacy reason. I wouldn't mind seeing them on say the front, and using them in a limited fashion, but to completely encase the whole upstairs, because I think it's really heavy-handed.
Or maybe like the front and one of the bays.
Yeah, kind of
Front,
like
if you wanted like
some of his examples,
like a private corner.
Yeah, but just not the whole thing.
Looking at your example on 54. Street.
What do you think?
yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
But I agree that just from the public.
Yeah.
Standpoint, it'd be much better. Because, bad.
Is this a conceptual approval with those, I've got two conditions about the doors and the.
I struggle a little bit with the changing the opening, like changing the main, I have two things on the doors, changing the main opening. And then I can't, that end door now looks kind of suburban. With just that one panel and that,
Yeah, I would choose a different light cut on that.
yeah, so I don't, but that's a detail.
Yeah,
I
the
mean,
detail,
that's a
the detail, yeah.
So it's really how we feel about the widening and the adding a transom on the front door.
And given that, I mean, this is probably a balloon framed house, you know, your balloon framing is hugging each side of that opening. This is typically how they're done, you know. And so, you know, there is some structural work great deal of structural work that will have to happen. To accommodate a wider door there.
Probably those openings on the existing are the same, right?
Yeah. Because I guarantee you have your vertical members that are also the door jambs that run from foundation all the way up the roof. That there were structural.
I'm inclined to leave that one and allow the change to that one.
Yeah, how would you feel about if that one were left about adding a transom window above?
Leave the historic door.
Yeah, and then add a transom above,
Yeah,
not change the width.
right,
Yeah.
that change the width.
Yeah.
And then obviously they're gonna have a bigger door. They're gonna have a bigger door coming into the mudroom.
Yeah,
The actual, what's probably gonna be the end for the day-to-day.
how do you feel about doing what you were saying, taking those two French doors and making them one?
I think that's up to them.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's up to them.
Because visually it would still be the same. I mean, he
Yeah.
could still take those and move them upstairs and then have new ones made downstairs that look like a pair, but they're just one door so that you don't have the width problem.
And I don't have a problem if they do.
Yeah.
So, but I think the thing that should probably stay.
And I'm okay with the transom being introduced.
Yeah.
Does all that make sense?
What I have interpreted is that, maybe just focus your privacy screens on the corner.
Right.
Keep make a new door for where we want to make the, wider door, but one panel, detail it to where it's, or it looks like it's one panel, or no, two panels, but one panel door. And then, make sure that the south door is not a one light door. Then it's say maybe I think maybe it's a four over solid panel, or maybe even a 6 over solid panel.
Yeah, and then keep those two doors aligned either by moving them both or leaving them both as they are.
Yes.
Did we just make a motion?
You did, so do you want to just generally do board discussion? Or
Yeah,
do you
board
wanna have
discussion,
these
yes, this is, we understand. It's a-
When you see someone taking minutes.
Yeah. And there's always the recording to go back and watch.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor for conceptual approval, with board discussion and preliminary and final review by staff. Do I have a second?
Second.
Bill?
Yeah, in favor.
Yeah, in favor.
Chair votes to the majority and the motion passes unanimously. So you'll be able to work with staff.
Yes.
Agenda item 14, 243 King Street has been withdrawn by the applicant. Agenda item 15, 12 Horse Court. Frankie, if you give us an introduction overview of the project, please.
Orange Court is in West Side Council District. It is not surveyed circa 1935 in the Historic Repairs Demolition District. They're requesting an appeal of staff denial for final windows. This is the property's location on Orange Court, and I will turn it over to the applicant.
Good evening, board. My name is William Magerchuk and I'm going to be showing this on behalf of Pearl Harris, the owner. So with this one, we were looking to do replacements on 3 windows. So it would be those 2 on the front right there, they're facing the street. And then that one in the rear on the right side, we were looking to replace. We were going to replace these with vinyl windows. We had a few on the street as well. It's kind of like a few on the street. There's some other vinyl windows up along that street of boards as well. On this project, we would be following with this being an older house, going to the EPA with a lead test on there. And we're trying to build building codes and staying in those standards. And we're just a replacement of those windows with vinyl windows.
What's the material of the other windows that are remaining?
The existing one are wood and they are wear and tear on them. They're broken down a little bit, so that was kind of the homeowners revamp.
Any other questions? Thank you. Sounds like we have anyone speaking. Frankly, could you give us any staff comments and recommendations?
I just have the observation that this was a permit which was denied by staff because remove the vinyl.
Thank you, Frankie. Mr. Action, did you want to respond to or clarify anything raised in the staff comments? All right, public comment and the applicant's presentation is now closed. Moving to board discussion and a vote. Your question is what I was going to ask, because I know sometimes if there's an existing vinyl window, we've said, well, you can repair and replace in kind, but these are wood.
Okay, well, first of all, I mean, the building's very simple, concrete block building. So
Yeah.
I don't think we have to find the highest standard. However, I assume we're talking a solid vinyl window. We never approve solid vinyl. And then to put a mismatched window in, it just makes things even worse. I mean, if the windows are going to be replaced, they need to be replaced with what's already matching what's already in the building for a consistent look. I mean,
I agree. The only time we've allowed vinyl is again when it's replacing vinyl, which
yeah,
I don't think we can set a precedent.
and we've allowed vinyl clad, but not solid vinyl. Whatever goes back. I mean, if she was wanting to replace all the windows, you know, there might be some more leeway for me. Not solid vinyl, but it's just a few windows. They need to match whatever's already there. It's gonna look awful.
I agree. Bill, do you want to make a motion? I think you're upholding this stuff.
My motion would be to uphold staff.
We have a motion on the floor to uphold the staff denial. Do I have a second?
A second.
Thank you, Becky. I'll put the motion to a vote. Bill,
Yeah.
Becky,
Yeah, in favor.
the chair votes to the majority and the motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Ackerson. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned.